Hi guys, great to be here with you today. Do you ever have those nights where you just can't sleep? You go to bed tired, but as soon as the light goes off or as soon as your head hits the pillow, you suddenly become wide awake. I do. Not all the time, but sometimes. I'm not sure why, but in those moments, I think the thing that's going to help me fall asleep is if I go on my phone to watch YouTube videos or read fantasy football tips. I think that's the trick to make me fall asleep. Although 2 hours later, I find myself doing the same kind of thing. I'm just so tired in the morning, it just wasn't worth it. King Xerxes had the same problem. He couldn't sleep either. But he didn't go on his phone to help him sleep. He had someone come and read him his own life story. I'm not sure what that says about King Xerxes, that he's so proud and impressed by his own story, or that he thinks it's really boring and will definitely send him to sleep. Well, either way, they got to the bit at the point of the story, which is all about Mordecai, that he heard the plot against him, against the king, by Bigthana and Teresh, and then Mordecai basically saved the king's life. And the king realized that he didn't even thank Mordecai for that. He didn't do anything to acknowledge it. He kind of just passed it by. That Mordecai had done this amazing thing for him and received no reward. This is when something really funny happens. We know that this is happening as a reader of the Bible, but those in the Bible don't know what's happening at the time. The king speaks to his trusted friend in Haman and says there's one person who the king needs to honour, there's one person who the king needs to reward. Haman can't work out who it is. I mean, if it isn't him, then who could it possibly be? Haman suggests giving this person a royal robe and a horse. But not just any robe or any horse, but the ones that the king has used. Pretty special stuff, I suppose, in those times. And that this one person should be taken through the streets of the city, taken through everywhere, and to let everybody to find out, everybody to know that this is somebody who the king basically thinks is amazing. Maybe you know what's going on as well, and you see the funny side of it too. Haman's idea is so good that King Xerxes tells him to just go and do it. This is when I wish I could have seen the look on Haman's face. When the king told him that this special person, this person who will be robed and to be ridden the king's horse, is none other than Mordecai. And better still, Haman was the one to take him through the streets, telling everyone how amazing the king thought Mordecai was. Hilarious stuff. Haman had to do this for the person he hated, and all this just hours before he was going to tell the king to kill Mordecai. That's definitely not going to happen now, is it? Mordecai had done a really great thing, but he hadn't been rewarded for it. Maybe the world we live in today says that there's no point in doing something if I don't get rewarded for it. But Mordecai didn't think that way. In fact, God had a reward for him, but giving him the reward straight away was just not the right timing. God knows the best timing for everything. The Bible tells us that 1,000 years to God is like a day, and a day is like 1,000 years, and that God is never slow to keep his promises. God does things in the right time. Mordecai didn't help the king for his own reward all that time ago, and neither should we do things for a reward. But God honoured him because of the good he did, and that those who hold grudges, those that seek revenge, just like Haman, it just doesn't go well. They have their plans, but nothing seems to go the way they think. And if you think this is bad for Haman, then you should read on and see what happens next.